Sweat Equity podcast and streaming show. We're leveling up our game with our guests.
On accident.
Hey, whatever gets them here. We've got Payman Tai,
Nailed it.
CEO of Visme. This is a big company, guys. I don't know what he's doing on this show.
He was answering questions and stuff.
Yeah, but if you wanted to get a hold of him just as a regular Joe, you couldn't do it. It'd be tough. We're the #1 comedy business podcast in the world.
Some people call me Cool Eric.
We won 2022's best podcast and streaming entertainment studio or small business advice.
I don't give a shit.
Podcast by Lux Life, the Lux Global Excellence Awards. Damn, we already won 2022.
Called it.
If you want to listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, OnlyFans, Substack, we there, baby. If you want to get one of these sweet tank tops that we're rocking, the girthyroi tank top that I'm rocking right now on our store, sweatequitypod.com. You'll see the store. Put it in the promo code Girthy. Get it at cost, baby. No money in our pockets. You want to put some money in our pockets? Why don't you hook up our sponsor?
I want money.
Our episode sponsored by Squarespace, creating a customizable website or online store with an all-in-one solution from Squarespace. Choose a website template and start your free trial with the promo code in the episode description. It hooks you up with a little percentage off. It hooks us up with little shekels coming back to the show. And if you want to see a Squarespace site, go to sweatequitypod.com.
Yeah.
Go to lawsmithworks.com.
Yeah.
Go to tocoba.ga, Tocobaga.
Okay.
And if you want to be our friends, our BFFs, subscribe to the pod, rate us 5-star review, give us a short review.
Give me money.
And share this with a loved one. Share it with a friend. Share it with someone who wants to get their business on. Let's get the party started with some Visme CEO, Payman Tai. Howdy dotty.
It's called sweat equity. Sweat equity.
Sweat equity.
Sweat equity.
Sweat equity. You are listening to the Sweat Equity Podcast. Sweat equity.
How's it going?
Good. We're rolling as we do.
Awesome. You guys mind if I catch my little tea on the next side so I could sip on it? Just give me about 10 seconds.
Absolutely.
Go for it.
Okay, all right, cool. Right back.
I bet it's green tea.
Got those cool hexagon things that are noise proofing.
And he's got a Shure SM7
What?
mic. That mic is
Oh yeah.
that's the mic I want to get us to. Not that it matters that much. But if you're a podcaster out there and we keep this in, the SM7 Shure mics are top. That's what all the badass podcasters use.
Yeah. Always back.
Already.
What kind of mic is that and what kind of tea did you get?
I don't think that is an SN7.
Talking about me?
SB7, baby. SB7 Shure?
Talking about us?
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I honestly don't know. I haven't used this one before. I could plug it in and see if it works, but
Nah.
I got my regular mics.
Yeah, we're kind of the same way.
All right. I mean, I got this, but I can get it out of the way.
It
if it's
looks
on the way.
good.
Get out of the way.
No, it looks good.
It looks like you
Okay.
know what you're
All
doing.
right, cool. Yeah, I got out of my office and using this room. I'm hardly in this room, so figured that the other room's all windows and all that stuff.
Yeah,
So-
it looks like you kind of half started the wall behind you for anybody
Yeah.
watching on video.
Oh yeah. See, no, this is our recording room for our YouTube channel.
Oh, very nice. No, yeah, I
Yeah,
was gonna say
yeah.
that's artistic choice.
Artistic, yeah. Cool. Let me see here. I got. Oh yeah, here we go. See. All right, cool. Just getting the view down. All right, cool.
So we let the guest, so we don't fumble through plugs in
Yeah.
their name. Why don't you tell us who you are, what Visme is all about, and
Sure.
where people can find you.
Yeah, cool. So Visme, as far as where I'm located, I'm in the DC area. Payman is the first name. Tai is the last name. The Paymon sounds Jamaican, from the Caribbean.
Paymon.
Yeah, that's right. And Italy, people think I'm from Asia, but it's a Middle Eastern name. So that's that. And but as far as what Visme is, we're basically, you could say we're like PowerPoint on steroids. That's one way you could say it. But the way I explain it in a more formal way is we're an all-in-one visual communication platform that basically empowers non-design professionals to create any form of content, from the ordinary to the extraordinary. So from normal presentations and clean-looking graphics and social media documents, all the way to fully engaging interactive content for learning management, for fully interactive video presentations, short videos. So that's essentially what we are. And last thing I will add, I guess this will give you some food for thought, is if you were to think of, let's say, dumbed down design tools or standard presentation platforms on the left, and you think about, let's say, Adobe Creative Cloud, Figma, the very high-end professional tools on the right side, we literally sit at the intersection of both. We're in the middle. We marry and bridge the gap between the simple and the powerful.
Yeah, we would call it low tech crowd would like that, because we've talked about it a lot on this show where there's a tech gap between generations. We feel like you're 38, 39.
39.
I'm 38. So we're kind of
how old I was.
Well,
man, I'm getting old. I'm older than you guys. I won't disclose my age. But.
Yeah, but you look younger. It's that Middle Eastern.
Yeah, exactly.
Swarthy.
All right. Hope so. How old do I look? Be honest.
42.
42.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Add a few more years.
There you go.
Yeah, cool.
That's all right.
You look younger.
It's in a dating profile.
Told you.
We don't have to show it.
Good.
Visme, if I'm not mistaken, started out in the kind of PowerPoint deck kind of area, right? Because when I saw you came on the show, you were coming on the show, I was like, oh, Visme. Okay, this is something I've been sent a lot of those decks, Visme decks for years, but I knew it as more of that, just a PowerPoint kind of competitor.
Yeah,
is that how
that's
y'all started
exactly
out?
right. Yeah, that's so. I think the story would be pretty cool to go back. By the way, are we recording? Or are we,
the whole time.
We are. All right.
Oh yeah.
We do live on tape, man.
All right, cool. Let's get rolling. So, here's what I would say. Going back to my journey, I was a web designer to pay my way through college back in early 2000s. Some people that are probably listening weren't born yet, or anyway, I was designing websites, and what I used to do was to create these animated Flash websites. So I don't know if you guys remember or not when Flash, Adobe Flash, and I loved it, and I was always into animation. So it created some really cool award-winning stuff with me and my small team of just less than 10 people at a company called Hindsight Interactive. And that was my agency. And so out of that, what happened was Flash was no longer supported suddenly because iPhone came out for the right reasons. It was a battery hog and so on. And literally overnight, I mean, exaggeration, within a matter of 6 months or so, it was like, nobody wants Flash websites anymore. What the hell? So my thing was like, well, let's...
That would be like 06, 07 when the iPhone came out?
iPhone came out 06, 07, but I think it was 08, 09 when they announced it. And then this is like 2011, 12 when it really started to take effect, where like nobody wanted it anymore.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, well, let's create a Flash for the future. So animators like myself, designers like myself, can create animated content for websites, and you just cannot get rid of it because you see, Flash was a plugin, so it had to be supported by browsers. A browser could come one day and say, we no longer support Flash, which is what essentially occurred, such as a Safari browser and so on. But the fabric of the internet then and today is still what's called HTML5. And so I was like, well, let's create it on HTML5 on that because nobody can get rid of it. And so by the time I put out like a little focus group and I had 10, 15 people show up to this very buggy, very kind of an MVP, and no designers show up almost. I just targeted the wrong people here in the DC area. And what they were trying to do was to create like a slide deck, or they're trying to create like what's called an infographic. And then that was an aha moment. So real quickly, long story short, I was like, man, light bulb moment. This should be a tool for non-designers, not the designers. And let's go back and make it an all-in-one platform. And because I personally, as a designer, what a big frustration I really had was that, let's say in those days I was creating a really cool animated intro for a website, and I had to go in, create something in Photoshop, export as a JPEG or something, bring it in, import it into Flash, and then I would have to go to like Illustrator, do some vector graphics, bring it in. So anyway, 3, 4, 5 different programs. And guess what? The learning curve of each one is a little bit different. And even for professional designers, those are really good, powerful tools, but they have a different interface. So you're going from one interface to another. And it will always frustrate the heck out of me. I was like, there has to be a better way. So I was like, okay, well, let's bring this in. Let's create the platform that allows anybody to create anything. It sounds like too much to be true. So that it gives people the best of both worlds. But then we always stop short of making it way too powerful, because then in that case, we're competing with the larger platforms, which do a much better job than those high-end items. And we're kind of like this, like, hey, I want to graduate from creating stuff that I do. Like, I get these tools that are really good, an entry point to get into, but at some point I want more. I expect more. I want to create something different. Your other option has been is you got to jump all the way from the left, all the way on the other side, high learning curve, a lot more. We are the answer between that. So that's basically what it's been, 8, 9 years plus of work that we've been working on. And here we are.
Interesting.
I want to check it out.
You're giving Canva a run for its money. You tell him PictoChart. We got infographics, dog. Don't worry about you. You stay down in Malaysia or wherever they are.
Well, I think all great tools. We are kind of this other alternative that people would have to experience for themselves to make that decisions. We have audiences that do people that use those tools. We have others that graduate from there and they come to us. There's something different and unique in our platform, but at the same time, there's some things that are very similar.
Well, it's scalable. It's simple and detailed if you want it to be. We know how to do design on a very basic. Eric's much better than I am. Every time I open up, you're really good. Okay, every time I open up Illustrator, I get apoplectic because
I know. Why is that arrow different from the arrow on Photoshop? That makes no sense. Why would it do something different? Why?
I use
the hand now on this one too.
I use Pixelmator over Photoshop just because I don't need, for what I need to do. I don't need a lot. I concept, but when I really need design done well, I'll send it to Eric or someone who's really good. But I need enough to do concepts or remove backgrounds or whatever. You're really fulfilling a need. I feel like that. You're in an interesting space, because I think we're going to see a lot more of this in a lot of apps. I feel like Adobe tried to make a move for this when they bought a lot of mobile apps, and they rebranded them theirs. And they go, okay, these are simple. These are simple mobile apps that are now Adobe.
They don't do anything.
And then now, that was probably like 5 years ago. And then now all the Adobe apps are way too complicated on mobile, I feel like. What you're fulfilling a big need. So I'll do a pitch for you. Anybody listening, they're freaking out. They got to do a presentation, kind of last second. They need something good. You got to do Visme. Use that.
We say next level. We say next level. So what I would say, and again, I'm not here to sell, the thing that I ask people to do is this. If on the surface, we're like, hey, you're like this other tool. What we ask people is yes, we're very similar. But when you go into Visme, I say for the magic of it to show, you got to spend about 15 minutes on it. Because that's where there's like these little Easter eggs. There's this very specific assets. We have even 3D assets inside Visme that no other tool has that are exclusive in Visme. We have other assets that are there that we actually have a design team in-house that for years, all they do is create assets that we only make available in Visme. We do license some videos and some images and so on, but when it comes to a lot of icons and a lot of our 2D illustrations, and we even have characters that you can create like short explainer videos, you can apply poses. Those are only exclusive in Visme. There's other tools that have characters, but what you find in ours is that. So, and another thing about our platform is that sometimes people get tired of seeing the same design and template that is used by tools that have, much more users than us. I mean, we have about almost 18 million, I think, users at this point that register for Visme, but it's not 200, 300 million. So they see a lot of the similar designs. Like this deck is, looks like this other deck, and they're very similar. In ours, we have them exclusively within our platforms that you can enjoy and use that. So that's kind of something that's pretty cool. Another thing is we're very big on branded content. So companies like businesses, they can go and plug their website URL using our brand wizard, and we'll detect their colors and logo and everything. We'll apply them to a bunch of templates, and they're ready to go. And roll from there.
Yeah, I'm empathizing, and I've been in this position a lot, but it's in 15, 20 years of having to, live the professional life. It's just like you have to make a deck last second, and PowerPoint licks, or an infographic, which infographics are really tough to make, honestly. If you don't know,
just that brand wizard thing.
Right,
to be able to slap that down for if you're it's a marketing firm doing you
don't have to do the dropper and what's our hex colors? It's procuring all that info that's available.
Yeah, there's one more thing that's pretty cool in that system that one of the things I really like about it, and people took a big liking on, is that when it comes to presentations, we have hundreds of templates, but we have what's called themes as well. So there's I think 3 or 4 themes. There's a modern, a simple, and creative. They're different styles, and it's literally a template with 700, 800, 900 slides. So every permutation of a slide you could ever imagine. So there's 25, 30 slides for that. So you're 3 items or 5 items, so that you literally find every permutation and all you do is replace the content. So that's something, because a lot of times we found out that people, they go and buy a template, or they use a template and it's got 15 slides, and okay, what the hell?
You're building that every one by yourself anyway.
Yeah.
It's then
you bring in, or then you go and bring some other slide from another template, and it looks nothing like it. You can do that in Visme, but we have this for that solution, we have that, so you're just very seamlessly, embedded across that.
You know how I can tell he's good?
Wow.
He said permutation, not combination, permutation. There's a big difference.
Wow. I didn't know I used that word.
Yeah.
Cool.
Wow, and he didn't even know he used it.
Yeah, it's I must use it so often I don't pay attention to it.
Your brain is next level. Count it. I'd be remiss if we didn't.
Got it.
If we didn't ask, the question we ask everybody that come on the podcast the first time. Did you have you listened to any episodes? We're always curious.
I have actually. I haven't. Yeah,
most people haven't. Now we're finding people listen.
Now everybody listens.
Well, let me tell you something. I had to be a little bit. One of my colleagues, she scheduled me for this and said, "Hey, here's you want to get." So I had to get ready, right? I listened to one I think it was today. So to be honest, I've listened to one, but it's actually pretty interesting. Got a little bit liking to it, and I'm thinking I'm going to have to download this pod on my iPod.
Nice.
Yeah. Hopefully, you'll download your own
iPhone with the pod. Yeah.
Put it on your Zune.
Yeah. Create an Adobe Flash graphic for it.
Pretty cool though, because a lot of these, a lot of these podcasts and so on that I've heard and I do is you guys are bringing a little different of a flavor of excitement and informal versus it's more casual versus a formal, how do you do this? How do you do that? It's just very dry run. So you guys bring a little angle of it, and I think it's good to have that in the community.
We really try to play it as if you're in the room and we're talking to you normally without any mics on. I mean, that's honestly how we try
it's the same questions we would ask conversationally anyways.
Yeah. And we get excited about
I might even nerd out harder on Visme if it wasn't on the podcast.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where there's a real lack of real business talk. We want to be kind of the anti-LinkedIn feed where it's all saccharine sweet. We want to ask about, a lot of the entrepreneurial journey is lonely a lot of times.
It is.
I want to ask you about that when you had the idea and then you were also still working as a designer. But we got to ask you this one question. What advice would you give your 13-year-old self?
Just one is will be so many, right?
But you travel back in time. You
travel back in time. Okay, so here's what I would say. I was a self-taught designer. I kind of taught myself things. When I say taught, I didn't go to school for it. I was a biology major. I didn't go to graphic design school, right?
W3schools.com.
So
I was a Visual Basic learner on my own.
Visual Basic, Pascal, right? Pascal.
Corel Draw. What up, dog?
Yeah. So I think, what I would tell myself would have been is I never went in and like took an internship and worked for like another company and so on. I just started my own business. So I think I would have learned a bit more, seeing how others do it, being in the woods and so on. So I had to learn things, make a lot of mistakes along the way because I had to figure out my own because, okay, I started a small business. It was 2 people, 5 people. So you essentially made a lot of businesses. Made a lot of mistakes that way. So I would have probably recommended that. And another thing I would say is that, we do a lot better planning now than we did then. But in those cases, you just go with like your, intuition, and your intuition at 13 or 15 or 18 or 20 or 22 is pretty bad. Like you haven't really built, or you have a good intuition when you have a decent amount of experience and things just become second nature. When you're young, you make a lot of mistakes because you don't really think things through. I know what I'm doing. I'm telling you this is going to work because I feel it. That's not necessary to it. So I would have done deeper research. I would have done something a bit, not in terms of Visme and so on, just my first business, which was designing websites and so on. It was a lot based on like, this looks nice. And today, looking back, it's like, it's all about user experience. Design is supposed to complement the experience. Before, in those flash days and so on, it was all about, let's bring some cool music, techno music, and move this object from left and right because it just looks cool. But is it delivering a message? That's taken me a long time to learn. I wish I'd gone back and done a little bit different.
I forgot about you're now giving me a time warp thinking of when sites had the auto music on.
Yeah.
I came across an Italian restaurant website that did that to me, and I was like, "Oh man, throwback!"
What about this? Sign our guest book. Remember that?
Right.
Sign the guest book that you came on the site or something.
Or the ticker with the user count.
Oh yeah, I made a lot of.
Remember the MySpace pages? You go in and there was like, so Facebook, right, came in and just basically was like the Google, extremely simple. You can't customize your page. It's just information, right? Like MySpace was, you just had control over everything. So you go to like a page that was purple and it's got like music playing and it's got a video in the corner.
Takes over your entire room.
GIFs, yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. Oh, I remember Angel Fire maybe, or GeoCities. These sites.
Yeah, GeoCities.
Yeah,
Site builder. Yeah,
those are like the first CMSs of sorts. Like you can
site builders. Yeah, GeoCities. Yeah, I remember that one. I think eventually got bought by Network Solutions, which then I think became VeriSign, but they bought them. I think they eventually dismantled it. Yeah, that was before your Squarespace, Wix, and all those sites.
I'll go deep on some Lycos, some Netscape, all that stuff. Prodigy,
Alta Vista.
I busted it out first. I said it first.
Yeah. Remember Ask Jeeves? It's now ask.com, but it was Ask Jeeves. Yeah.
What happened to that guy? What happened to Jeeves?
Yeah.
Well, so I'm always curious about the plight of the entrepreneur where you already have this company, but you have this idea, right? And you're like, I need to make this. I have almost a calling to make Visme a thing. When you're overlapping, right? When you have the web design company and then you're starting to go, I have to make this idea happen. Can you tell us about that part of your life?
Or did it go down like that?
Or was it,
Or did you have, or was it kind of like, okay, we got to pivot right away?
No, so it wasn't making money. So, Visme wasn't making money for the first 2.5 years. Well, we put it out. Once we open up past the beta, within about a year, we were generating revenue. And about a year and a half, 2 years later, it was essentially cash flow positive. Visme has never raised funds, by the way. None of my companies have ever raised funds. It's always been bootstrapped. So I think it's kind of like been, I make $50 and then I'm going to invest 20 of it, spend 10 of it, put the rest aside for rainy day to invest for the future. That's essentially how Visme has been. So that's one of the reasons that, I've seen multiple tools, names you probably wouldn't even know of anymore because they went to raise money and then they just didn't grow fast enough and they basically had to sell for peanuts or they closed down. Then there was a few in our industry, Canva being one of them, of course, have done a fantastic job and they've grown tremendously. They're huge now. So looking back, as far as hindsight, it was a self-funded agency, and what most agencies are. They're essentially, self-operating and so on. Not a high profit margin because it's labor intensive, right? You need team. Like with Visme, we could grow another 50%, not hire another one or two people, right? But yet in an agency, you want to acquire 3 or 4 more clients. To grow 10%, you got to hire 1 or 2 more people. So, however, it was generating revenue, and so I put that into essentially taking that profits and putting into Visme, and just investing that profits month after month. And so I couldn't just let go and say, okay, all in, let's go to Visme, because Visme couldn't stand on its legs anymore. It needed some help. So I used the investment from the hindsight. Instead of going buying fancy cars or whatever, I just put it back into this. And that's how it kind of started. Then what happened was, over a period of few years, people always ask, like, how did it work and so on? How did you become profitable and, grow the company? At one point, Visme exceeded revenues of my agency. And at that point, it no longer made sense for me to continue focusing on the agency side. And I was like, agency actually was not growing as much. Well, I wasn't investing as much in it. There you go. 2, I just knew this is not a very scalable business. And 3, I really wanted to get out of the agency, where as much as I love designing websites and so on, you're creating something for somebody else. They have their own input. They essentially pretty much ruin your idea every time you have, but they're the clients that paid for it.
Yeah.
So
it's like being a custom home builder. Like, the custom home builder probably knows a lot better design, right?
Yeah.
And flow, but you got the owner that owns the house.
Yeah,
they got the
2 toilets.
And you're like,
the customer is always right. They're not always
what
right. But you gotta listen.
HGTV show did you watch to get this idea?
Yeah.
Like that. Those shows are cooked, and that's how I feel about website design. Is like a lot of people go, "Ooh, I like this website," and you're like, "Well, you're not paying that."
Yeah. So that's how it was. It was a slow journey. It took a few years. So it literally was like, going down, a revenue hindsight's going down, and less clients coming in. And also, actually, it wasn't just because, and I saw the signs coming in, is that I know that if I spend $10,000 to invest into a hindsight, I won't get the same ROI as I would on Visme. And one of the reasons for that was because we built, this is when website builders like Squarespace and Wix and so on were really getting more and more popular. And so the market of websites small business websites that were like $3,000 or $5,000, reasonably, and we're now coming down where people just want to create it on their own, and it just became extremely flooded, and there's more and more designers coming to market. And we were not the ones that were going to do $250,000, $500,000 websites. We weren't made for that. Believe me or not, there's actually companies that build sites for that price. And so I just saw the signs coming in, and essentially that's how it was. It was an easy decision, but it wasn't an uncomfortable decision, because you've been running this like agency for 12 years and put a lot of work and so on into it. And so it's almost like, divorce away from that. But I think it was definitely the right choice.
I was about to say, I think that's every agency owner's secret dream, is to go off and do something where you don't have to deal with clients.
Yeah. It feels like when Phil, is it Hellmuth, the poker player, who would always say, like, if it was, maybe it's Hellmuth, the guy who's a dick.
Yes.
I think the guy, he was like, I'd win every hand if it wasn't for luck or something like that. And I always think about that with clients. It's like, we crushed this project if you guys didn't muddle and everything. Right. And the human variable is tough.
It is
in project mode.
There's something else also that's really rewarding about this type of work. See, as an agency, you're creating something for somebody else. And so the output is you creating something and handing it off to them. And once you do, it's theirs and that's done. And that's fine. But in Visme, what's really cool is that, and I think what drives me and my team to kind of, move forward and do the things that we do, is because you get to see and you kind of have this self-fulfillment. Yes, there's people saying, love what your platform and it's things I can do, and it helped me to do X, Y, and Z. But you also get to see what they create. You visually see what you do, and they, share it online and send you links, or they post it on a gallery and so on. So that's really self-fulfilling in that regard. You're empowering people to do, to visualize ideas or concepts, in our case, for like their business and marketing and sales and data.
And these stats are probably wrong as I pulled up Crunchbase and Owler. It says you got about 70 employees, average revenue is 4.1. I'm guessing those are a little.
Those
low.
are outdated and old. Yeah, those are wrong. Yeah. We don't
Funding
disclose
zero,
revenues,
though.
but
That's
it's definitely
good.
hard in that.
Funding zero.
Employee
That's important.
That's the
funding
word.
zero. Yeah, that one's correct. Yeah, the Crunchbase is definitely outdated. I don't think I've been on that for a while. We're about. We're a little short of 100 people, so about 90, 70 people here. The revenue is definitely above that. It's not something that we openly talk about and disclose, but I can tell
Why
you.
would you? Yeah, why would you?
I don't need to do that.
You don't have to.
We know it's more than 4.1.
Yeah. I was
Good
looking
for
at
you.
that. I was like, that seems very low, considering how competitive y'all are in this market. And it's one of those things. It's interesting as you're talking about, not having to deal with humans as much, and you're kind of doing this meta thing where you're going, here's what we think is the tool to empower you. It's art that empowers artists out of people that don't think they are. It's one of those things in an art world. You paint. Eric's a painter. You paint something. You hope people, vibe it. You hope people like it. You put it out there, and you go. It's a tough line between like, I know what's right. Speaking of intuition, what you talked about earlier when you were younger, having this intuition, but also knowing, working on that intuition. It sounds like over the years to go, I know what people are going to like and use in a similar way. There's no question there.
It is. No, it's true. Look, I've gotten things wrong a lot. We have, but there haven't been like major, terrible, like big decisions. So here's the thing. If the purpose of Visme for me was to just build the design tool that would have generated the most amount of revenue, acquired the most amount of users, we would have made it dumbed down and just focused heavily on just quick entry point, quick outcome, and so on. We would be, no question, further along in terms of users and in terms of revenue and so on. But that's not what our mission was. It wasn't to just be another platform out there. And it's the space that's already been filled. There's a lot of options for there. And so for us, it was where, we want people to have the best of both worlds, get the simplicity, and yet have, when they want at their disposal, more power, more capacity to do what they want. That essentially is what a lot of us want in life, right? Is that you want your cake and you want to be able to eat it too.
Autonomy.
So that's what we're trying to give them.
Right, yeah, and you have an infinite whiteboard, which may stray me away from Miro, as I've been a Miro zealot
user,
for a while.
yeah.
But
that's a new one. The 2.5 months ago we launched that. It's been very, very nice for us. Yeah.
I'm looking at the press release or some Martech news about it, and to me, with remote collaboration, I don't think we've crested to the market really catching up to those whiteboards yet, but it will be a thing that everybody does use, I think.
Yeah, I think, look, one thing for sure happened when the pandemic started and so on, and that is, of course, this sudden shift of everyone working remotely. And I think the one issue is that this wasn't a case for us. Like, for example, just in transparency, when the pandemic started, we weren't yet a collaboration tool. We didn't have live editing where you have multiple people in, edit at the same time, or send people to comment, on something. We didn't have that. Miro and a handful of the tools had that. They were around. They had better name recognition, and overnight they had tremendous growth. And site builders and so on. Everybody's kind of going online, right? So we, in our case, didn't have this like 2x, 3x growth during the pandemic. It was just another year for us, essentially. So what's happened is a lot of those companies that grew like a weed, they also acquired a lot of junk and a lot of, I'm not saying individuals, but they acquired a lot of traffic and users that really were going to go back anyway when things came back to normal. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so what happened was from the site builders to productivity tools and so on, those type of users, a lot of them now slowed down in their growth, and it's affected them. for us, it's just been, like any other year. So it hasn't really affected us. So that's kind of been a cool thing. And it's been a bad thing in that we didn't enjoy this big growth in that case. But at the same time, we haven't had a negatively affect us where others been affected. It's just another year for us. So anyway, when you said about the whiteboarding and so on, one of the cool things about our tool, and it took us a while, we're like late stage, we're after everybody else that's already has a whiteboard and so on. But one thing that's cool and unique about ours is you see in Visme, in other whiteboard tools, you have certain limitations. There's a certain type of content and assets they give you, and that's what they are. They are for whiteboarding. Like you get a magic marker, you can draw, you can bring some icons. Like ours, you can do much more colorful and interactive things because you can use the same exact assets that we have in Visme for your presentation, for your data visuals. You can actually do full-blown charts that you can connect to live data. So I could create a whiteboard with you right now, like for our marketing KPI, I use our whiteboard and I'll put a chart, I connect to like Google Sheets that pulls like marketing KPIs. I could draw an arrow and go to like a short video, and then in the near future, be able to link it to other stuff and other content as well. So that's pretty cool. And I think that the future, is going to be more productivity. I think there's like an intersection between design and productivity. That's happening, but I think it's coming. The other part of it is AI. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I don't want to stop the AI.
So yeah, the other part is AI. So I personally think that if we're talking about AI, like right now, I mean, look, you want to know where I get most of my information right now? People like think I'm an idiot saying this, but I get a lot of my information when I follow the right people on. No, not Jeeves anymore. Twitter, TikTok, man, TikTok. That thing. When you get past the whole dancing, all that BS stuff that you get past, and you go in and you follow the right people and the right channels, you get bite-sized information in little pieces. More I could get in a day than I would spending 3-4 hours. I can get in 15 minutes. So it has its place. But anyway, so what I was referring to was that platforms such as TikTok, you can get a lot of information. And in our case, what's helping us is that we're able to see kind of correlations and trends that are happening, paying attention to those networks, and then seeing kind of what is it that people, individuals want or might be looking for. With that said, it's getting extremely flooded, so I see that coming. But what I was going, my point, by the way, was about AI. So going back to AI, and the reason I say it because 3-4 months ago, there was almost no mention of anyone promoting or talking about AI tool. Now, in the last month, I've probably had 5 or 6 AI tools that are almost doing like the similar thing. They're all piggybacking off of, a GPT-3 and those open AI technologies. And so they're just very quickly putting out all these AI-based solutions as standalone. The problem is that all of those, majority of them can easily be replicated by 1 or 2 people, developers. So you're going to see more and more replications. So everybody's all excited about it. But I think in platforms like, content creation and other platforms that already have built this platform and you utilize some of the AI on top of it, then you really can bring the magic of that in. So I think that there's a lot of noise going on. And I do foresee that when it comes to AI, my theory is that in the next 1 or 2 years, you're going to get this, almost like crypto, just constantly another coin, another coin coming in. And really, there's only space for a few of them. So there's going to be a lot of this stuff coming with AI, and there's going to be a lot of noise. And at the end of it, a handful of them are going to be the ones that are going to stand.
How's your Dogecoin doing? Bad?
I lost it.
With AI, can I pitch a slight marketing thing? Because I'm just this last week, I've seen. You know how a lot of you don't have to answer this, but I'll pitch it to Eric because I don't want you to get in trouble or anything. But I see a lot of women, that put the in their like Instagram stories, like some like quotes, like motivational quotes for themselves, kind of thing to put out there. The next thing I'm seeing now, and this is the next trend that a lot of chicks are going to do, and that kind of
automated Instagram posting,
the AI art of themselves. I've seen it on my life.
I like my idea better.
But I've already seen it about 50 times just in my feed. I'm trying not to really, I'm trying to just post stuff and not really intake a lot. And man, that is really catching. I haven't seen a dude yet that I'm friends with post their own. I'm going to do it. I'll do it because
you mean their profile. You mean their profile picture?
They'll be like,
what are they inputting?
They're getting AI to do the AI art thing of themselves.
But I mean, what kind of input do they give?
You put you upload a few images of yourself,
Okay,
like 10, and then you give it some tips,
and then it creates a
generates-
picture of you that looks like
Get
you're
ready.
at the Grand Canyon. And it looks real. as shit.
As we record this, December 6th, 2022, you're gonna get flooded with every chick doing this.
You and I should take a bunch of pictures.
I will show
do it and then have it produce all kinds of shit.
Now, I find that funny. I don't know why. I'll do it just to see what it is. I doubt I'll post
I bet
it.
when you first see it, it's probably pretty creepy to see you look at somewhere you've never been.
By the way, the AI makes them a little bit hotter than they actually are. So,
well, it takes away all the
blemishes,
the imperfections and blemishes, and so it's pretty neat. And then of course you can put a style like illustrative or flat or like there's like
watercolor.
Give you
yeah,
watercolor and so on. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, you can do crazy stuff. I haven't done it yet, but I you can say it was like put my head on top of like a horse, and then like give me big earrings, and it could generate the art and so on. But that's what I mean is that like there's a lot of noise, and it's really cool, I think, to play with. But as like a business use case for something like that, there's really just going to be a few that are going to, I think, survive this.
Yeah. No, I feel like y'all are headed in the right direction. It seems like you've got kind of calculated growth in a good way, even if you did think you missed off on the lockdown era, where a couple companies went skyrocketed. Like you're saying, I noticed with some of the other apps I've used, they added too much too quickly and really relied on marketing how many users they got in that period instead of working on the product. So
yeah, I guess it's kind of like vanity. In some ways, there is somewhat of a vanity metric. It's like, for example, us, like, hey, 18 million users. That's a vanity metric. That's great, fantastic, but
it builds trust.
What percent? Yeah. So that's it's another metric, but yeah.
But we got a jet, man. We could talk about this stuff for a long time. We'll have to have you back on.
No, man. Anytime you want. I'm glad you guys had me. And you got any questions or anything else? Let me know. I'm here.
We'll have a bunch. You're a big get for the show. We don't get CEOs big apps we use. So appreciate you coming on. And
thanks, man.
We'll schedule you another time.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much, guys, and good stuff. Thank you.
See you, buddy.